Well, hello and welcome to Money Talks. I'm your host, Ed Marshall. Times are changing for what once was an all-ladies private education institution. And find out what Major League Baseball is doing in the metropolitan area to affect the education of urban youth. Those stories and much, much more when we come back.
Mondays at 6 p.m. on WLAE.
Welcome back. For well over a century, St. Mary's Academy existed for the sole purpose of educating young women of color in the New Orleans area. And like most things in the new millennium, the school's purpose remains strong, but has evolved to meet the changing urban academic environment times. For more on this, here's Money Talks senior correspondent, Larry Lunsford.
A few years after being established in 1867 as St. Mary's School on Charter Street in the French Quarter, the school became known as St. Mary's Academy, the first secondary school for young ladies in New Orleans. In the nearly 150 years since, St. Mary's Academy has become recognized as a shining jewel in education. Tucked neatly away on the grounds of the Sisters of the Holy Family on Chef Montour Highway, the Academy has long held that every young woman should have an air of sophistication and charm, and provides an education that nurtures the mind, body, and spirit. That philosophy is now impacting the lives of young men through the school's new male academy.
What we didn't realize was that it makes a huge difference if the young men are exposed to women or men. We started this male academy because we knew we had to expand our grades. And in the 4 months that we've been in school, there's a significant difference in the behavior of the young men that have been who are in the school now. We hired 3 males so that they would have male models. And we did this also because we know that in our city, we need as many male models for our young black males as we could find. And I have to say that we've been very pleased with the difference it has made.
Character development, we stress manners. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We open doors for our young ladies as well as our educators, female educators, leaders. Those are things that we want them to take into the real world. We ask them to be smart with their smartphones because there's a series of things that our young men and young ladies can get into. So we ask them to be smart with their phones and the way they have dialogue with other students. We definitely talk about the crime situation that is going on here in our city, but we want to be a solution. And that solution is what we're doing today, making sure that when they come in the public, that they are well-groomed, and that they are mannerable and presentable so that everyone else can see that we have some positive young black males in our city.
The upperclassmen take their positions at the academy quite seriously.
They have little young men and they look up to us at this school, and it's great to be a leader, and it's great to have to mentor them and tell them what they should and shouldn't do, and be just a role model to the younger kids on campus.
As students' dreams are nurtured here, the brilliance of this educational gym known as St. Mary's Academy continues to glisten through the lives it is changing.
If we could leave a legacy, it would be that we made a difference in the life of the young men in this city.
This is Larry Lunsford for Money Talks.
Times are changing. St. Mary's Academy, now a co-ed campus. Well, let's turn now to Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball is playing a major role in education in terms of urban students who are involved in the sport of baseball. This came about through MLB's assistance in helping to create the Youth Academy at Wesley Boro Stadium, which is located in the historic Pontchartrain Park area, and the academy opened in 2012. The stadium replaced a 55-year-old facility that was devastated by Hurricane Katrina. The facility operates in coordination with the New Orleans Recreation Development Commission to offer a dynamic youth program that provides free year-round baseball and softball instruction, as well as educational and baseball vocation programming for more than 2,500 young people from underserved and urban communities throughout the southern Louisiana area. The New Orleans MLB Youth Academy also features a tufted stadium, indoor and outdoor batting cages, extra bullpens, a youth field, and a softball field. The Academy also focuses on education and vocational programs, including after-school homework assistance, broadcasting, which is what I meant, sports law, field maintenance, umpiring, and scouting clinics. The organization also receives contributions from local businesses who believe in the MLB mission.
Personally, this was one of the toughest builds that I've ever had. I just got to thank both Rons, Ron Washington and obviously Coach Maestri, Ron Maestri, and obviously Louis Bolero, who's the vice president with First NBC Bank, and everyone at First NBC Bank, because without their help, we couldn't have come back. It wouldn't have worked out for us, and without that support, it's been unbelievable. But I'm telling you, it was a tough road to hoe, and now seeing so many kids being served here on a day-to-day basis, these kids are moving forward. They're graduating from college. They're going to college. They're inspired to play the game. They're in sports law. They're involved in all the academics that we have here, the broadcast program, SAT, ACT prep. It means a lot to us, and we couldn't do it without First NBC, obviously. We had asked for half, and he gave us twice as much as we even asked for, and we were just going to do the best we could with that. And he had the knowledge, and he had the generosity to go, wow, you guys need more than that. We're going to double it. And he believes in what we do. He believes in Pontchartrain area. He believes in the youth in America. He believes in the youth in New Orleans. He believes in Major League Baseball. He believes in baseball and what it can do to change lives. And having a partner like Ashton, it's like having a dad that never says no. So, thanks to Ashton, thanks to everybody.
And that he kept referring to was, of course, Ashton Ryan, who's part of our Ask Ashton on this program, where we talk to him, the community leader, about things that go on. So we appreciate him very much. Let's turn now to Delgado Community College. Another organization that's helping to assist metropolitan residents looking for a career or expanding their present employment skills is Delgado. The Delgado Community College Foundation Board each year hosts a roast of a popular business person in hopes of bringing in much needed dollars, which will assist students at Delgado. Well, this year's roast will be April 22nd at Harris Theater. For more information, contact Delgado by going to its website at dcc.edu. We'll have more, so come on back.
Hi, we're Ola High, and you're watching WLAE TV.
Well, welcome back. It's tax season, and the April 18th deadline, I did say 18th, they gave us a few more days instead of the 15th, for filing taxes isn't that far away. We're pleased to welcome back to the Money Talk Show, Ms. Dee Stepter, and she is the media relations specialist and guru, I call her, of the IRS, and she comes in with us each year to kind of tell our audience about some of the things that they need advice, we need advice on, and also to talk about some of the other things that are going on, such as some of the frauds that people are pulling this time of year. Dee, first of all, welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
You. Let's talk about some of the frauds so people in the audience can know if they get somebody calling or trying to deceive them.
They're going to get phone calls possibly, or maybe emails from these scam artists trying to get their personal information or to scam them out of their money. The email scams may take you to a bogus website, may ask you for your social security number, bank account information. So be wary of these emails that appear to be coming from the IRS or from tax software companies. It could even be impersonating State Department of Revenue. So just be very careful when you're receiving these emails not to provide your personal information. Then we have the phone scams.
Yes.
Those go on year round, not just during filing season, but we have seen an uptick in the email scams and the phone scams, but they happen all year round. A lot of them will call threatening you, demanding that you make immediate payment on a bogus tax bill. You should not fall victim to these scams. The IRS is not going to call and demand immediate payment. We're not going to call you and tell you you have to go out and buy a prepaid debit card or make a wire transfer. If you get a call from an IRS agent, they will explain to you if you do have a tax debt. But the first thing, you're going to get a notice in the mail. You're going to get a bill from us by mail, possibly several notices, before you get a phone call. They're not going to demand immediate payment, and I want people to know that they have rights. You have rights to ask questions. You have the right to appeal the tax debt. You have the right to find out why you owe this money. So don't fall victim to these scams.
And particularly some of our older residents who are still in the tax filing area, if they don't know, don't do that and then ask a relative or someone who comes into the home about this, but do not make any kind of contact by phone, those kinds of things.
No, don't fall victim of it. You get the phone call, don't answer their questions, hang up, especially if you know, hey, I don't owe anything, so why is the IRS calling me? It's probably a scam. They also can spoof caller ID. They're very sophisticated. It makes it appear that the call is coming from the IRS, and they also threaten to bring in local law enforcement. That's not IRS. We're not going to do that. We value your privacy, and we will not disclose your tax information. So just be wary that these are probably scam artists trying to cheat you out of your money.
And who qualifies for Free File?
Well, Free File is a partnership between IRS and software companies to make electronic filing free, available to the majority of taxpayers.
Okay.
We have the traditional Free File program, which is for people who make $62,000 or less. With that program, you have access to the tax preparation software, the software that's going to ask you the questions. It's going to help you figure out what forms you should be using and filing an accurate tax return so that you maximize the credits and deductions that are available to you. Now, about 70% of taxpayers qualify to use the traditional Free File, making the $62,000 or less. But if you make more than that, you have another option. It's called the fillable forms. This is all the IRS forms available electronically. So if you're comfortable in preparing your own tax return, you can use the fillable system. You prepare your return online and file it electronically for free.
That is fantastic. We're almost out of time. I have so many more questions. The best thing to know, though, that people can go to is irs.gov.
Yes.
And what's that number?
You can call our toll-free number, 1-800-829-1040. Say if you have a question about your tax account, but irs.gov is available 24/7, answers to questions, a lot of online tools to help you file your tax return.
Dee, thanks for being with us.
Thank
You're
you.
always helpful. And for more information, again, you can always go to the IRS, irs.gov, or that special number. And we appreciate you coming in.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, turning now to our monthly Ask Ashton question. This is where local recognized business leader Ashton Ryan, who has been touted for several years as one of the people in the know in the area, gets a question from a viewer. Well, Richard Ford, who resides in Madisonville, says he's confused. Business for him is booming. It's never been better. But yet there's so much talk about a budget deficit in the state. Well, we took this to Ashton Ryan, and Richard, here's the answer to your question.
We have a deficit at a time we have a very good economy. That's an anomaly. It doesn't make sense. But it does if you understand how we tax at the state level. And because of that, we have a pretty much emphasis on taxation such as sales taxes, which are regressive and they hurt low to moderate people. We also have taxes based on oil and gas production, which with the price currently certainly is bad. We have to look at our tax base and figure out how we can make a good, efficient use of the tax dollars we have and really look at the way we provide services in government. We have a large bureaucracy which really needs to be put on a standard of effectiveness. Is it cost effective? Is it service effective? And if we could really get our legislators to focus on attacking that part of our cost structure as well as looking at redeveloping our revenue base, because we just can't live and effectively provide the services, the roads, the bridges, the various services that we have to afford for education and low to moderate citizens, health care. We've got a whole bunch of things we have to do, and we've got to do both, to be honest. We've got to get more effective in the bureaucratic process, much more effective, and we've got to see if we can't change the tax base so we can get additional revenue during a time when our traditional sources of revenue are falling.
And there you have it. If you have a question like Richard, contact us by Facebook at Money Talks with Ed Marshall, and we'll get your question to Ashton Ryan. Well, we're turning now to some very positive news. There are some businesses making positive headlines, so let's talk about them. While the Louisiana economy is somewhat in a slump, it appears the financial health of the New Orleans area is doing quite well, as Ashton said. Officials at Louis Armstrong New Orleans International Airport say the year 2015 saw the facility set an all-time record, serving well over 10,600,000 passengers. That's a lot of folk. That's an increase of over 9% from 2015. Now, the airport is beginning yet another phase of expansion with an $826 million construction project featuring 30 gates and 2,000-car parking garage. That project is set for completion in 2018, and it is expected to have a $3.2 billion annual impact on the New Orleans tourism area, and we need that. And while things are soaring at the airport, the same is true at the Port of New Orleans with my good friend Gary, who is the executive director over there. The New Orleans Port, which serves over 1,023,000 passengers in 2015, topping the million-person mark for the second straight year, and there's more to come. The port is looking toward another great season this year with a 34% expansion in cruise capacity, with the Carnival cruise ship Carnival Triumph will be replaced by the Carnival Elation. American Cruise Lines is slated to add a third riverboat for Mississippi River Cruises to and its New Orleans fleet. So we got lots going on out there. And Viking has announced that New Orleans will serve as the first North American home port with 6 new ships to set sail beginning next year. We'll have more information for you on all of these things as they come about and as they start doing all this work. And we're going to have more information for you on this very show when you come back. So come back and see me. We'll be just a minute.
You're watching WLAE, New Orleans Public Television. Find us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Welcome back to Money Talks. Entergy New Orleans recently broke ground for what is being called a unique energy program. The company is piloting a utility-scale solar project that will feed electricity directly into the distribution grid to benefit all New Orleans customers. The pilot program will evaluate the ability to store and deliver solar energy to the electricity grid when customers need it most. We plan to update you on that project as it goes along. This is the time in the show, however, when we turn to our CEO and president of Crime Stoppers here throughout the metropolitan area, Darlene Costanza. And Darlene, it's so good to have you back, as always.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
We want to talk about Crime Month and crime, what's going on in the way of Crime Month for our area.
Right. Well, Crime Stoppers works a lot with victims' families, and really that's what we're all about. We're finding justice for the families of anyone who's been fallen to a prey to crime. National Victims' Rights Week is actually in April this year. It's in April the 10th through, I believe, the 16th. And why we'd like to kind of preview that now is to let people know out there that you're not alone, I guess. Crime Stoppers' message is certainly about speaking up, and it's about speaking up, fighting for justice, but it's also speaking up in support and witnessing to families. So it's important for everyone to understand the things that we do, which are we provide certainly reward money for cases. We also provide opportunities to publicize the cases for the families, whether it's by flyers, social media, certainly on television, like we thank you here, and on the radio. And we try to connect the dots around those families. So it's important, remember in April, National Crime Victims Weeks, look up online, Office of Criminal Justice, you can go online and see the information about what's available through that program, but just keep it in the forefront that if you know someone who has been victimized, let them know they're not alone, stand up and tell them there are resources there. Call Crime Stoppers. We'd
Yeah.
be certainly glad to help them with
You
resources.
know, and that's what I appreciate about Crime Stoppers, because at the Crime Stoppers luncheons and things like that, you actually have people come in and have those families come in, so those people know that their loved one is not forgotten.
Definitely. I mean, if you are a victim of a crime or you feel that you're alone, particularly as the time marches
Yes.
on, and it's incredible that you understand that you're not. And what we can do, besides, again, speaking up when you know something about a crime, is to surround and support. So we appreciate the opportunity to let people know that there is a chance for them to do that in a very positive way.
That's it. So just know that Crime Stoppers has its arms around the metropolitan area.
Yes, we do.
Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you, Ed.
All right, and we'll have more news when we come back, so stay here.
My life is full of statistics. Thing is, I could have dropped out of school and become one myself, but I didn't, because I had people that believed in me. Here's another statistic. 7,000 students drop out every school day. That's one every 26 seconds. It's time that students know that we believe in them.
Inspire a student and share your message of support at boostup.org.
Well, welcome back. For 30 years, the Neighborhood Development Foundation, better known as NDF, has been teaching local residents how to go about having a piece of the American dream, home ownership. Basically, teaching them how to go about buying a home and move off of that renter's payroll. I'm happy to welcome back to the Money Talk Show the CEO of Neighborhood Development Foundation, Mr. Fred Johnson. As always, Fred, friend, and a pleasure to have you back. And you know, this is very personal to me this year because you'll have me as the chairman of the NDF board this year. So we, I'm very appreciative of that. But for those in our audience who may not know what NDF is, you've been around for 30 years. Give them a snapshot of what NDF does.
Basically, first of all, thank you, Ed, for having us, and thank you for all of the efforts and energies that you give to NDF. NDF has came this far based on the likes of people like you and the sorts of collaborations that we've been able to establish, and then having a positive outgame. The Neighborhood Development Foundation, in a nutshell, is primarily a place where you can come if you're interested in turning your financial situation around. Mm-hmm. What we realized very long time ago is that the schools and the churches and the institutions that most of our citizens attend don't teach them about finances. So we took the road of educating them on how to be smart about the biggest ticket item they'll ever buy, which is a house. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't necessarily buy a house, but in the course of getting them on track, they learn how to budget, they learn how to save, they learn how to manage, and they learn how to do other things. Homeownership is not for everybody, and we don't force it on everybody because you know the outcome of that is a foreclosure, and the banks don't want it, the buyer don't need it, and NDF certainly is not encouraging it.
Right.
But in the course of educating folk about money and how to use monies that they have right around them every day, we just tried to come up with some simple, stupid techniques that says, here's how you can get credit scores if you use your credit card as opposed to using your debit card. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Here's how you can borrow against your money, pay debt off, pay yourself off, build your credit scores. Just things that they said, wow, nobody never told me that. Wow, I never heard that. Wow, I wish I'd have heard this when I had $25,000. I wish I'd have heard this when I had a debt benefit policy paid. And I'm saying, well, we're not going to go backwards, let's go forwards.
Right.
But that's the primary goal, and in a nutshell, is to create an asset for the upcoming generations so that we can break the back on poverty. Mm-hmm. A lot of people say, well, homeownership is this, homeownership is that, and it's too expensive. Well, it's all relative. I mean, and the other thing is that the clientele that we serve, they cannot pass the tenant's house on to their children.
That's right.
That's the owner, they're the tenant. They can't pass that house on to their children. in order for them to have a house they can pass on to their children, they have to sign a note and a mortgage and pay it and pay it and pay it, and eventually pay it off and pass it on to the children.
Right. And we've got a few more minutes. Let's talk about what's coming up on March 19th. It's the annual Neighborhood Development House Party, as we call it.
Right.
And it's going to be in the historic 210 Barone First NBC building downtown, starting at 6:30. And we want people to know that this is the only, really the big fundraiser that goes toward having some type of monies to continue this nonprofit.
Exactly. We're not commissioned, so we don't get any monies from any real estate transactions. We are advocate for buyers so that they can be smarter consumers. And we're having the 21st annual house party, and we call it a house party because the monies that we raise in there allows us to have a staff to educate folks to become house owners. And we invite the public to call 488-0155 and get more information about the house party in the 210 Barone. We thank Mr. Ryan and the First NBC family for being gracious hosts. We thank all of our other banking partners for their support. But we invite the public to come in and come out to a very good, wholesome, quality, good food, good music, good people, and for a good purpose.
And tell us some of the things they can expect. This year you're having the wonderful Michael Soulman Baptiste. He's been, burning it up this year because he does a whole lot of Motown kind of soulful stuff and kind of caters to the crowd that's usually there.
Well, we try to make certain that we have a party with a purpose.
Yes.
And in order to have a party with a purpose, you got to have music with a purpose.
Right.
And Mike is certainly capable to bring the quality music that we need and we've been having in these events.
Yeah.
And that's why we agreed, and Mike agreed to come in and be the entertainment for the night.
And you've got Marie's Catering, and those foods are being donated through Mr. Ryan, which is a wonderful thing. And also, people get a chance to actually meet homeowners and talk to them about how having a home has changed their lives.
Right. There's nothing like a personal testimony. You know, when you look at a young woman with 2 children that the system has forced to preclude herself, and she was determined that that wasn't going to happen, and with our counseling and advocacy and her willingness, she now owns a house. And it's very enlightening to meet these young people, men and women, so that you can understand that they're not welfare recipients. I'm not putting down welfare recipients, but they're not looking for a handout. They're looking for a hand up, and they're willing to put their money where their mouth. They just need some education, direction, counseling, and advocacy.
All right. Sounds good to me. And again, that number is 488-0155. That's the number of the NDF office. And you certainly go on the website for the Neighborhood Development website office. And we hope that a lot of people will participate. And again, this is a nonprofit organization. So we're hoping for a good time on March 19th. That's a Saturday. Bring the dancing shoes and hopefully we can raise money for NDF. We'll be back with more, so stay with us for Money Talks. We appreciate your tuning in to Money Talks. Before we go, we'd like to congratulate the president and CEO of Daughters of Charity Health Centers in New Orleans, Michael Griffin. Griffin is receiving the United Negro College Fund's National Alumni Council Hall of Honor Award at the 2016 UNCF Legacy Award Gala. Griffin receives the award for his contributions to Daughters of Charity and the community. And in its heyday, the mention of the name House of Broyles caused brides from here to New York and as far away as England to make their way to New Orleans for that special bridal gown. That was, of course, before the days of internet bridal purchases and large fashion houses. But for 50 years, the House of Broyles was the last word in everything wedding. Owner Bonnet Broyle recently held a 50th Foundation Gala. The foundation has been established to maintain the history, legacy, and the upkeep of the St. Charles Wedding Mansion. Well, that's going to do it for us for this show. Until next time, do something good for yourself, do something good for someone else, and remember, it's your money, make it work for you. I'm Ed Marshall, and we'll see you.